everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to our latest 15 for 4:30. I am here with Madison of Peace Restored, and Peace Restored is going to be our 4:30 meetup nonprofit beneficiary for April 2023. This is one of our member nominated and member voted impacts, so we're really pumped to benefit them. I'm really looking forward to asking Ann more about their mission and her heart in it, and so I'm going to turn it over to you. What is Peace Restored for those who aren't familiar with it? What is your mission? How do you help serve the community that you do?
Peace Restored's mission is to serve women that have been impacted by a variety of difficult circumstances, which may include abuse, trauma, and grief. And we do that by providing counseling services, support groups, and classes. We work with women exclusively, adult women over the age of 18, and we are geographically located in Mooresville, Indiana, but we serve women all over. So we actually have an international reach with Peace Restored. So usually our number one way that we get our clients is through the clients that we work with. So they tell their friends, and because they're like, you need to go to this place, it's different. It's not the same as everywhere else you've been to. And so we love that our clients want their friends to come and get help with us. It's a huge compliment to the work that we do. And then the second largest way is through social media or other professional organizations that want to refer people to us. We do have licensed clinicians on staff. We're actually in the process of expanding that. Last year we launched an internship program that we work with several universities, and we are becoming a training site where we can train different clinicians to work in the field of mental health. And so we really want to continue to expand that. So we just launched that in the fall of last year, and so we have more starting this year. Then we also do classes and groups, and so we do both of those. We do psychoeducational classes, so we want to teach people how do you integrate your, what does it look like to have good, healthy coping skills or good mental health practices, and so we want to really teach those skills, not just change behaviors, but we want to equip them so they can learn how to do things differently and do things well, and then understand why they might behave a certain way. And then in addition to that, we want to do support groups so they can have a safe place to process everything they're learning. So those are kind of the different aspects of how we help the women that we work with.
So when you bring somebody in, do you have, like an initial consultation and then figure out what services they need, or do people come in with kind of an idea of, oh, I'd like to, heal through this avenue or this avenue? How does that work?
Sometimes women do come to us with a predetermined idea of what they want and what they believe that they need. And we always want to work with them, because what we say is we want to meet everybody exactly where they're at, to help them to find the purpose that they've been designed for. And so we really want to drive them towards that. When a client initially comes with us, we have what we call a welcome meeting, because again, if you ever came to our office, you'd see that we aren't designed like a clinical setting. We want everything to feel very homey and very at peace. And so when they come in, we have sofas and like a front room setting, so they come in, they sit down, and we want to relax. Many times our clients will come early just to visit with us because they want to, they just want to hang out. We don't mind that our staff gets to know all the clients by name, and they get to know our staff too, so we interact with them. But during our first time they come in, they do what's called a welcome meeting, which is about an hour and a half long, and they meet with our client liaison, Mrs. Taylor, and she just goes over like, how do we work as an organization? So we have a lot of moving pieces, which can be really hard for somebody when they come in to keep up with all the different things that are going, like, how do I know what thing to take advantage of, what class, what group? And so Taylor is really key in that. She just keeps the clients connected with everything that's going on. She's in contact with them almost on a weekly basis, like, here's what's coming up next. And then she also works with whoever their clinician is to say, and they let them know, like, hey, this would be a really good fit with this client because of, obviously the clinician knows their history. Also, another thing that makes us unique is that we don't have a set pay structure for our clients. And I don't know how much you know about mental health costs, but
it's sizable.
Yeah. In the state of Indiana, it averages between $125 to $150. And so when you look at statistics, they tell us that most people don't receive mental health care because of cost. And so what we do, we work with everybody's budget to find a dollar amount that works for them, so they can continue to receive care for as long as they need, which is a little unique in the mental health world. But what we found is it's very needed. It's not, here's our program and you're going to go through our steps. It's, what do you need to help you get to whatever it is you're working through, whether it's an abuse issue or trauma. And these are both past or present. So somebody might have grew up in an environment that was really hard, but they never had a place to process through it. And so now they're ready.
How many people do you have on staff? Do you use volunteers? How does the structure of that work?
Sure, we currently have 10 on staff. And then this year we're really doing a strong push to expand our clinicians. We currently have, I think the last time I looked at our stats, we currently have right about 90 clients that we're working with, which some may go, oh, that's not a ton, but if you take into account that most of our clients come in 2, 3, 4 times a month or more, and then in addition to that they do classes and groups, you know, the number starts multiplying. So if you have 90 different individuals come to your door, you know, 3 or 4 times a month, you know, we can all do the math. So that makes a big difference. So this year we're really looking to expand our clinicians and bringing on some more clinical staff, and through that, and then also through our internship program.
I would love to know how Peace Restored was started and where it's going in the future.
Peace Restored is birthed out of my own personal story of trauma. When I was a young girl, I was sexually abused, starting at the age of 4. And both men that entered my life, they were people outside of my family, but nonetheless, it was pretty profound for me. I didn't really know what to do with all of those emotions and feelings that came from the result of that trauma. It really, for the good first part of my existence, shaped who I believed I was. I stayed in that space of, I'm just not good enough, for a really long time. And when I got into my mid-30s, what I always say is there was kind of this perfect storm that hit my life, and a lot of pressure came onto me. And when we have a lot of pressure coming at us, it almost always brings up the stuff that's inside. And that's exactly what happened to me. There was all this stuff that just started rising to the surface. I was starting to dabble in managing my stress through drinking. I was contemplating, is it even worth for me to be here anymore? Does anybody need me around? My kids at that time were, I have 3 children, and so I had kids. I was raising them, doing all the mom things, but I would just sit in my closet alone, just falling apart. Nobody knew. I was very, very good, at least I think I was, really good at hiding all of those things. I remember the moment when I was sitting in my closet alone, thinking about how do I self-admit into a hospital, because I just don't know what to do next. Finally, I was able to come to my husband and talk to him, and he really was amazing through that time, because he was that soft place to land when I didn't have any place else to go in that time, because he saw me in some really, really dark places. I started going to counseling, and pretty quickly I got really frustrated with the counseling process. Not the process of counseling itself, but the process of finding the right counselor. I'm a person of faith, and so integrating faith into my healing was really important to me. And I would find places that would work with, said they knew how to work with trauma, and I would ask them about, well, what about my faith? And it's like, well, we'll work with your faith. And so I started trying to find different people, and I find people who would either know how to work with trauma, who knew how to work with faith. They didn't know how to do both. And for me, that was a big disconnect. I didn't just stay in my little box of Mooresville. I was traveling across the state. I mean, I was going all the way north, I was going south. I even went into, trying to think, the one place was in southern Indiana that I went to, just trying to talk to people, like somebody has to be out there that can help me. And I couldn't find anybody that knew how to work with them. I'm like, this isn't right. And so then I went back to school. I started pursuing my undergrad in psychology. I spent about 10 years going to school. I ended up graduating with a couple of different degrees in extensive training in trauma and crisis intervention and counseling. And just like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to make a difference. In 2015, in July of that year, was the first time I shared my story publicly. We were approached with the offer of an office space, and we just said, okay, this is getting real. The short version is we were given 72 hours to decide if we wanted the office space, and then as we were deciding, we were told that there was a donor who was going to cover our rent for the first 6 months, along with all of our utilities. And we said, oh, that's interesting, and so we went ahead and accepted that office space. Then we moved in November of that year, and in January of the following year is when we started working with our first client. It's been amazing. I kind of feel like I have the front row seat of watching all this unfold. I know I'm actively working in it, but it's still like, I feel like I have this opportunity to see things that I just never would have been able to see if it wouldn't have been for taking that first step. It's hard to believe all that's happened in the last 7 years. It's just been a short 7 years, short and busy 7 years. Now we have a staff of 10, and we just started out in Mooresville, and now, like I said, we've had an international reach, and that's something I had no idea that was going to happen. I think COVID that was one of the benefits that came out of COVID, was everybody became way more comfortable with digital technology. And while we were doing that before COVID, once 2020 hit, everybody's like, oh, no problem, I'll meet with you virtually. And that works really well for our clients. We have clients right now as far away as France. We have some in Puerto Rico. We've had them in Canada, Argentina, Uganda. It's just, technology really just bridges that gap for us. And then we've had clients in 7 different states, and from probably 11 different counties in Indiana. When I meet with people outside of Mooresville, they're like, well, this is just a Mooresville thing. And I'm like, absolutely not. It's because the need for what we do isn't just in our county. It's not just in our state. Women are crying for help everywhere we go. There's so many hurting people. There's more work to do than we have time, but we're just going to keep on doing.
So how can we help? What do you need right now from people who are going to rally around you?
I mean, I think one is having volunteer support, and I know that may not be something that everybody that will be watching this, they may be like, well, that's too far, and that's okay. But there's other ways that you can support us too. Of course, it may be a one-day thing that you volunteer and come down for. I don't know. But volunteers is a huge part of what we do. We send cards to all of our clients. We like to handwrite cards. We don't do, mass produced. So we like to have those specialties and those things that volunteers can help us with. Another way, obviously, is helping us kind of continue to move forward. Peace Restored has big goals as an organization. Our goal is not to stay and do the things that we're currently doing, which is the counseling, the support groups, and the classes. Well, that's always going to be a part of what we do. We have a long-term vision that's really big. We really need people to come alongside of us to help make that vision come reality. So we have 3 phases of development that we're working towards. We have the projection of that we really start working towards that in 24, be able to kind of, identify the property and break ground. But we've been really excited this year that things have been accelerated for us. We've been actually in negotiations in the last couple of weeks with somebody who, with a potential property that we've identified. We really haven't publicly announced it yet, and so we're really excited about this because that's going to really propel our vision forward pretty quick. As long as things keep moving the way that they look like they're moving, some of that's going to happen a lot quicker than what we thought.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey.
So yeah.
What a blessing.
I know. It's amazing.
Tell me a little bit about the golf outing if people can't come to the 4:30 meetup. This is another way that you can support.
Yes. So the golf outing is going to be on June 28th, which is a Wednesday. It'll be shotgun start at 8 a.m. and it'll be at the Heartland Crossing. It's called the Links at Heartland Crossing. So it's down in Canby. So if people are not familiar with that, they can just go to our website at Peace Restored. They can do teams to come to that. We also have sponsorship levels open for that too, which if anybody wants to sponsor, we'd be happy to talk to them about that. But yeah, it'll be a fun day. It's a beautiful golf course. I was just telling you beforehand how I enjoyed just riding on the golf course because it's just so pretty there. So anyways, but yeah, we're looking forward to having a huge turnout for that day.
Thank you so much for tuning into this month's 15 for 4:30. And just in case you're listening to this podcast style and didn't see the pop-up in the middle of the video, there's a link in the description box to a second video which takes a more in-depth look at Peace Restored's 3-step vision for the future and everything that entails. It's really, really cool, and you're definitely going to want to give that a listen. If you would like to support Peace Restored at the 4:30 meetup, you can get tickets on Eventbrite or on SYNERGIZEIndy.com. As always, we will be donating 50% of all ticket sales as well as a portion of each SYNERGIZE membership to the cause, and you can view more information about that on our website. So pop on over there, come out, see us on April 25th, hang out with some awesome people, and let's celebrate Peace Restored together. See you there.